So for today's training session, I'm going to be going through kind of our objective here, a little bit about me, and then I'll actually be going through about training on the features in the device and how they work. Now, before I begin, everyone, if you are a customer that has purchased our 24/7 live monitoring, which means you are gold, then you are being monitored by us at Blackline. If you've purchased self-monitoring, silver service, then that means you're being monitored by your team, your managers and supervisors by emails and texts. So when I talk about monitoring, that could be us, or it could be your managers, or it could be a third-party monitoring as well. So just please check in with your managers and your supervisors, with your team members, and just qualify what you have as a service with us at Blackline. Okay, so I'm going to begin. So here's just the agenda. We're going to kind of discuss the content about the devices, starting your shift, during your shift, generating a manual alert, ending your shift, and any questions. Now, with the questions, everyone, in the webinar below, you will see a chat box. You can actually type questions in that chat box as we go through this training session, and you can also see there's a little hand that you can click on that you can raise. That will also get my attention so I can see that you have a question, and then I can unmute you and I can answer your question so the rest of the group can hear. If you don't want to do that, that's okay. Just type in a question and I will answer them as we go forward in the training so everyone can learn from your questions as well. Now, just before we begin, a little bit about me. So I've been working in this company for over 4 years now. I've deployed across the UK, Canada, and US, and I have a lot of experience with making sure everyone has deployed their loaner safety system successfully. So I'm really happy to be here and happy to train you today. Okay, so the first thing we're going to kind of discuss is about the device. So you have your bridge and your Loaner 900. What is it about? What does it do? So this system is a satellite and cellular-based system. So the bridge is our base station. He allows us to connect to satellite or cell. He is the communicator. So he allows the Loaner 900 to connect effectively through and then send those alerts down to your monitoring team. So who you are, where you are, and what type of event. Three important factors that you need to know about both products, this applies to both, is what we like to call CPC, which is connection, positioning, and charging. Connection, positioning, charging. If you check off those three things before you start your shift and at the end of your shift, you will have a successful deployment with our Loaner 900 and bridge. So let's talk about what CPC means to the bridge. So number one, connection. For this bridge to be connected, obviously we need to power it on, and then our bridge will connect. The way our bridge connects is it will flash green, and then it will connect with a solid green line. Positioning. Positioning with the bridge is highly important. If your positioning is not correctly positioned, then your communication may suffer through that. So it's really important that you understand that this is an outdoor product and he needs to see that clear line of sight to the sky. So when you're placing your bridge, I'll give you some examples of where you can position it, is if you are positioning it in a facility, in a site, it 100% needs to be near a window. If you're unsuccessful getting connectivity, then the bridge needs to go outside. If you're using it in a vehicle, you can use it on the dash by making sure you securely secure it and make sure it doesn't come at you, because obviously if you're driving and you slam on your brakes, we want to make sure this guy is secure. There are mounts that come in the box with the bridges, but you can do whatever you need to with those mounts. They're yours, but just make sure this guy is secure. Another position is on top of the roof of the truck. So you do have a magnetic mount and you can position it on top. You can also position it on the back cab as well, because again, with those magnetic mounts, it's really going to help with that. Now let's talk a little bit about positioning. So let's say that you've got your bridge on top of your vehicle and it's positioned where we instructed to, yet you're not getting a connection. So with positioning, it's really important that we get a clear line of sight to the sky. So, for example, when you're parking your vehicle, you want to make sure you're not parking under anything, in a garage, an overhang or anything like that to block the signal. Remember, the bridge needs a clear line of sight to the sky, so as long as nothing is blocking that, then you're going to have great, then this is going to connect successfully. And then charging. You really want to make sure that you're keeping an eye on your battery, and you can do that by just simply pressing the OK button. It lights up the screen and you can check on your battery. If you don't have a battery for the next day, then you can't use your product. Now, the great thing about the bridge is that you can charge it in the vehicle. So you have a cigarette charger there. Obviously, you can plug it in at home and in the office. But please do make sure that you're keeping your battery topped up and that you're keeping that nice and full, just in case, you know, especially if you're sharing devices, you want to make sure that your team member the next day has a nice fully charged bridge as well. And then this device also has GPS capability. So when there's an emergency event, we're not too concerned on where the bridge is, because the loner man-down device is kind of where we want to know where you are and want to get you help. This is important. This is where you are. But this is where your vehicle is, or if it's on site. So again, it's important information that this is, the Loner 900 is the one that we're going to be watching out for with positioning and alerts and things like that. So remember, connection, positioning, and charging. Okay, so let's move on to the Loner 900. So the Loner 900, and sorry, I was meant to talk about when I was talking about charging, it has 50 hours battery with that. So when you're charging, like I said, if you press the OK button, it lights up the screen. You can see that you've got 50%. You know that you've got 25 hours. So that's the battery life of that. Apologies, I forgot to mention that. Okay, so the Loner 900. Now, this is the man-down safety device. This needs to be worn on you at all times. So again, when we refer to connection, positioning, and charging, it's really important that we're hitting all those points to make sure we've got a successful deployment. So connection. When you turn on your Loner, and don't worry, I'm going to give a demonstration. When you turn on your Loner, it connects to your bridge through a 900 megahertz radio frequency, and you can reach up to 2 kilometers in flat terrain land in distance. You can go in and out of buildings and things like that. So as long as your bridge is mounted somewhere, you can walk about and go as far as 2 kilometers. Positioning, really important that this device is worn on your hip or your chest at all times when working alone, so the device can successfully safety protect you and diagnose alerts correctly. And then lastly, charging. It's really important that we do charge our Loner 900 every night. We have 24 hours of battery, and it's very important that we keep that topped up so it's nice and topped up for you, or if you're sharing the device, for your co-worker the next day. And this also has GPS capability. So when you have an emergency alert, it bypasses through the bridge, and then it connects down to the Blackline Safety network, and then your monitoring personnel will be managing and responding to your alerts. So that's a bit about the system, some important key three factors that you need to remember, and just a generalism of how the devices connect and work. So for any questions coming about, let me know. I really want you to kind of remember those the 3 points, so CPC, connection, positioning, and charging. Remember those, because I'm going to kind of ask you later as well. Okay, so we've already kind of discussed how the bridge and Loner 900 work together. We've already kind of gone over that, but here's just a visual on the connection of that communication. Okay, so let's go to the bridge components and let's work through the features and what everything means. So it's real simple. If you look at your bridge or you look on the screen, you've got a power button to the right. This is to turn your device on. You've got 2 dots above there, and these dots are representing your battery charging and your connection. So making sure you are connected with your SureSafe light. So you'll see a solid green light, which means you're connected. Then you've got your OK button, which basically lights up the screen so you can read what's happening, so your battery, connection, etc. And then you've got arrows to navigate up and down through the bridge, because this bridge does have texting capability as well. So now if we look a little step further in, we've got the LCD explained. We've got your battery level, we've got your charger connected, the number of devices, satellite and cell. So the key component here is the arrow. The arrow is pointing to whether you're connected to cell or whether you're connected to satellite. Now as an end user, I don't really mind which one I'm connected to, as long as I'm connected. Okay, now if we go over to the Loaner 900 and look at the components on this, as you can see there's not a lot to it, keeps it nice and simple. So as you can see we've got our power button here on the left to turn our device on and off. We've also got this emergency latch we can pull out in event of an emergency. And then if you look on the back, you've got your belt clip, which allows you to securely fasten it to your hip or your chest. We've also got a product label, which on both of our devices we have, which basically states your unit ID, which is assigned to you or your department. So if you ever need to call customer care for any troubleshooting, give us a call, give us the unit ID on the back of the device, and we can help. All right, so starting the shift. So it's really important, everyone, that you do turn on your bridge first. The bridge is the heart and the brain of the operation. He needs to get fired up and get connected. Then you would turn on your Loaner 900 second. So to power up your bridge, you want to press your power button once, and then what's going to happen, it's going to bleep and it's going to flash, and on my screen it says searching. So what my bridge is doing, it's trying to connect, and once it's connected, it will then turn to a solid green light. So as you can see, my bridge is still flashing, it's still searching, and once I'm connected, that will turn to a solid green light. And there we go, I just connected, and as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, my arrow is pointing to cell, and that's fine. I'm connected to cell, I'm happy with that. The next thing I want to do is mount my bridge. So where am I mounting it? So speak to your managers and supervisors and see what's been discussed, but typically inside on the dash, or on top of the vehicle, or on the back, using your dash or magnetic mount. Really easy and simple. And remember, just keep an eye on that clear line of sight to the sky, so whenever you are, going on a drive, or if you're stopping your task, where is your bridge? Have you parked over anything or blocked that signal? Okay, so now I've got my bridge turned on and I've got it mounted. The next thing I want to do is I want to turn on my Loaner 900. This is me starting my shift. I'm ready to work alone and for my safety to be monitored. So here we go. So I'm just going to press that once. Now, as you can see, same rule applies, ladies and gentlemen. My light is flashing green, which means I'm now trying to connect to my bridge. So now my bridge is connected and online. My Loaner shouldn't take very long to connect. So once my Loaner is connected to my bridge, that is when I'm okay to start my shift. If I continue to blink, I need to call customer care and say, I've been blinking for quite a few minutes now, and everything I've done, I've checked. Can you help me and figure out what's going on with my signals, etc.? And they can troubleshoot there and then over the phone and figure out what's going on. Now, it's so important, ladies and gentlemen, that you do wait for that solid green light. So I have to wait until I'm ready to start my shift. Once I've connected, my Loaner will then go to a solid green light, and then I'm connected to my bridge. Okay, so next of all is wearing the device. It is so important and mandatory, and we can only advise you on the best place to wear it, which is on the side of the hip or on the chest pocket. The reason we design it like this is because it's your kind of center of gravity, and also for the device to effectively diagnose situations such as no motions, fall detections, or if you have a check-in, or if you need to pull your emergency latch. It's very, very important that the device is on you and securely to you, so you can manage alerts and you can quickly pull the latch and when you need help. If you do not wear your device, then and you leave it somewhere and it's unattended, it will lead to false alarms because it's not on you. The device doesn't know that it's not on you and it's not hasn't moved or fall detection. It just thinks, well, I'm now sitting still for a while and I'm going to check on my user and see if they're okay. So it's so important that at the beginning of your shift, you get it connected, and at the end. Excuse me. I'm just going to grab a drink of water here. Okay, so during your shift, now these are really, really important. So during your shift, your device might ask you for the following. It might ask you to confirm if you're okay when it detects if you haven't moved, full detection, or check-in. Now please check with your managers and supervisors on which features you have, but typically most companies have no motion and full detection, and sometimes check-in is kind of being discussed. But I'm going to train you on everything today. So no motion. So if I'm lying still and my device has detected that I haven't moved, my no motion is going to kick in. Check with your managers and supervisors your settings and what you have, but typically it's set to 5 minutes. So if I haven't moved within 5 minutes, my device is going to sound a pending alarm, and I have 30 seconds to manage it. And we're going to show it. I'm going to show you this on the slide shortly. The next one is the fall detection. So again, if I fall down, you know, a slip, trip, or a fall, and I hurt myself, my fall detection is going to hear that, and then it's going to start alarming and give me 30 seconds to acknowledge it. Now, I talk about timers and things like that, ladies and gentlemen, but you can configure these. The device is configurable, so you can configure times, sensitivity settings, and adjust that alarm acknowledgement time as well. Okay, and then obviously the check-in as well. So if you have this enabled, for example, as soon as you start your shift and you receive a solid green light, that means your check-in timer has started, and you might have configured the check-in to be maybe an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours. But whatever that configured check-in time is, it's going to check on you every 2 hours throughout the day. And the same will apply. You'll hear a sound, a vibration, flashing lights for 30 seconds, enabling you to press down on your latch to connect and to tell the device you're okay. So let's see what that looks like. So I'm going to play you this soundbite. So this is a pending alarm, ladies and gentlemen. This is the device asking you, are you okay? Are you okay? And if you're okay, you simply press down on the latch once, and you tell the device that you're okay. And that way it's a conversation between you and the device. No one else is going to get the notifications, case closed. So it's just between you and the device. We also have an additional feature with the check-in. So again, check in with your managers to see what you have. But if you have the early check-in enabled, it allows you to press on the device for 3 seconds. So if you press down on your latch here, 1, 2, 3, and you feel 2 vibrations, and you can feel those, that means you've done an early check-in. And you can check in early every 5 minutes of the day if you wish, and that resets your timer, and then your check-in will not disturb you for another 2 hours or whichever it's configured to. Another great thing with our device is that it is configured with speed, because think about when you're driving, we don't want the device to have a check-in come in while driving. Excuse me. That's my device. So with the driving, it's set to 35 kilometers per hour, which is about 22 miles per hour. And basically when you're driving, it detects that. So you shouldn't get any pending alarms in the vehicle while driving. Everything should be good. Okay, so now we've spoken about this pending alarm. And we know that we have 30 seconds to press down on the latch to tell the device that you're okay. Great. Now what happens when I cannot press down on my latch? It's going to escalate. So after 30 seconds of hearing this pending alarm, and you're unable to press down on the latch, your device is going to go into a high alarm. Once your device is in this high alarm, it basically means that you are now in a higher state alarm. The monitoring personnel received this, and you will be receiving a phone call. So if you have a phone number assigned to your device, then you'll be receiving a phone call. If you don't, we have the texting capability. So what happens is when that high alarm comes in, your monitoring personnel receives it, and then you receive a blue light on either side of your device. And when you receive that blue light, it's basically telling you that someone's received my alert. Now, when your device is in a high alarm, ladies and gentlemen, you cannot cancel it, but you can silence it by pressing down on the latch for 3 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, and then you've silenced your device. Okay, so moving on now with the alerts. The emergency. So this is kind of our number one, because if you need help and you need to get your monitoring personnel's attention because you've injured yourself, etc., your chest could be feeling tight, don't hesitate. Pull that latch. When you pull the latch, it is going to generate an emergency event. The monitoring personnel is going to know, and then you're going to receive that blue light, etc., etc. So pulling the latch, I'm just going to pull it for you now so you've got a live demonstration. Now please bear with me. You will hear a very loud noise coming in because I'm going to multitask with the portal system as well. So I'm going to pull my latch, I'm going to acknowledge it, and I'm going to silence it, because we cannot cancel alarms, but we can definitely silence them by pressing down for 3 seconds. So here we go. I'm just going to pull that out. Very loud. Sorry about that. Now what I'm going to do, so I'm going to press down for 3 seconds. I'll acknowledge this first. So you don't get that loud noise. Thank you for bearing with me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press down on my latch for 3 seconds. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. And as you can see, the noise has stopped, but there is a blue light flashing on either side of my device, which means the monitoring personnel, whomever that is for your and your service, so it could be us, it could be your managers, but they've now responded to the alert. Now, once we received that blue light, we're going to then call you and see if you're okay. If you don't have a phone number assigned to the device, then we are going to send a text message, and I'll talk about that shortly. So once we've spoken to you, if we're able to get a hold of you and you said that you're fine, whether it's through a phone call or the text messaging, we then resolve your alert. So as soon as we resolve your alert, just resolving it now, your blue light will go out because we spoke to you, everything's okay, you're safe, you're fine, case closed. The blue light will go out. Okay, so if anyone has any questions or anything with that right now, let me know and type them in. Now we're going to move on to bridge text messaging. The purpose behind bridge text messaging is to allow us to communicate to you in an area where there are no cell phone service. There is no cell phone prohibited. You don't have your cell phone today. You forgot it. Who knows? But that's why we have the texting capability, so we can communicate to you. So what will happen first is when there is a text message, you need to definitely walk back to your device and respond. But how do you know that there's a text message at your device? Your loner will sound and vibrate and flash with a yellow and red light. So this is what it will sound like. It's mustering you back to your bridge. Now when you hear that sound, when you hear that sound, you're thinking, I'm in a high alarm, what do I do? First of all, what I would do, if you're confused, if you're thinking, well, did I do this? What's happening? And if you're confused, silence the device first. Because then what you're going to see is you're going to see this red and flashing light on the side of your device. Yellow being the key. So when you see that yellow light, go back to your bridge because there is a text message waiting for you. When you arrive at your bridge, it's going to be flashing and sounding also because it's alerting, saying, hi, I have a message. So this is what it will sound like. Now, to silence your bridge, so the first thing we need to do is press the OK button 3 times. Once you press the OK button 3 times, it will then silence. So I'm just going to send a message to this bridge. And then I can give you a live demonstration of what that looks like. So bear with me 1 second. I'm just multitasking here because I'd love to give you a live demonstration. So I'm going to message. So this is typically the monitoring personnel. Okay, there we go. Oh, there we go. Just bear with me a second. So here we go. I've sent a text message. There we go. So there's a text message to the bridge, and then it starts alarming your loaner 900. So when you get to the bridge, as you can see, it says, do you need help? So the first thing I need to do is press my OK button 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And then it's silenced, and it says, muster stopped, because I've acknowledged it at my bridge, and I've told the bridge, I'm here, and I'm ready to reply to that message. So the second thing is replying to the message. So I want you to look at my screen, ladies and gentlemen, and just kind of go through that. And what my screen is doing is it's explaining from 1 step to 7 on how to message the bridge. So it's really simple. You navigate through the menu to find the feature you want to enter by using the arrows. So you arrow up and down to find the message, the menu. So if I press my arrow, so I want to go to my messaging. So then what I'm doing is I'm now going to the menu. I'm trying to show you as well. So I've got the menu on there, and if I press down, it says send message. I want to do that. So what I'm going to do is press OK. And then I need to scroll down again to find the message I want to send. So send help, nope. So my message was, do you need help? And I'm just going to put no, or I could scroll down and find, for example, false alert. There it is, false alert. And I'm going to press OK. Text message sent. And then that sends back to the monitoring personnel that it was a false alarm and you're okay. Now these text messages are configurable. So you could speak with your team and say, actually, we want we want to change a couple of those messages, speak with your manager, and then we can go through it together and make sure those messages are configured. So realistically, you're just navigating through the menu, you're finding until you get to that menu, then you press OK to enter in the menu, then you're finding send text message, and then you enter in to find the text message, and then you scroll down to find the message, and then you press OK to enter that and send it. So it's just arrow OK, arrow OK. So it's really, really simple, everyone. If there are any questions coming up, please let me know. So now we're going to move on to notifications, but before we do, I just want to give a quick summary of what we've spoken about. So remember, CPC, what are the 3 key points that are important about both of these devices? I want you to think about it, and if you would like, I would love you to write it in a message to me and tell me what the 3 important things are with the device are in a message. That would be awesome if you could do that. If not, no pressure. So CPC, what are those 3 things? If you could write that in. And then just kind of summarizing, it's really important that we turn on devices, we get a solid green light. Remember, the bridge goes on first, we mount it, then we turn on our loaner, we wait for a solid green light, we place it on our hip or our chest, and then off we go. If we hear that pending alarm, all you do is simply press down on the latch once to tell the device that you're okay. And that's a conversation between you and the device, and no one else knows about it. If you need help, pull the latch. And that's all there is to it. We're now going to move on to the notifications, and then we're going to move on to powering down our device and charging. Okay, so notifications are really important. So there are 2. One is, so now we've established, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something with my device to show you a blinking light. There we go. So if my device is blinking, like this now, that means I haven't connected to my bridge. So what does that mean for me as an end user, and what do I do to kind of troubleshoot that? So first of all, if I notice a blinking green light, I need to walk back to my bridge and check on my bridge. If you feel as an end user or as a manager for your employees that they're not going to notice a blinking green light, I would like for something to nudge them to let them know when they've lost communication. We could definitely set that up. So in the portal system, you can enable what is called a link loss alarm, and that basically alerts you, but it's not an alert that's going to go to a monitoring personnel or managers. It's just between me and the device. So it alerts me and it lets me know I've lost communication, and then I can do something about it. And you can set that up in your portal system. So what happens when I have a blinking green light? So it means that my device has lost connection from the bridge. Why? So we know, number one, that we have this 2 kilometers of distance. Have I exceeded that? So what I would typically do, number one, is start walking back to my bridge. Because if I suddenly connect, 10 steps in, then maybe that was a distance thing. So then if I think, well, I need to work all the way over there, so I definitely need to be connected way further over there, then go back to your bridge, pick it up, and take it with you. It's a portable device. It can come anywhere with you. We have users sometimes using it on quads or an Argo, so they'll get a snowmobile. They'll get the magnetic mount, they'll stick it on their quad, and then off they go because they're exceeding the distance. And from the vehicle where it's parked, it's just not enough, so they get on the quad and they take it with them. Or you can just pick it up and take it with you when you arrive to the location, put it on the wall, make sure it's risen up a little bit, and then you'll be fine. Now, if I've walked back to my bridge and I'm still flashing, well, I'm right next to my bridge. Why am I not connecting? Remember the 3 important factors. That's when they come into play as well, because you're going to check your connection, your positioning, and your charging. So number one, I'm going to come back to my bridge and think, is it connected right now? Do I have a solid green light? Yes, I do. Okay. What about the positioning? So you can start to troubleshoot it. So number one, if your bridge is not connected, so if you come back and it's flashing, this means it isn't connected, which is why your Loaner 900 is not connecting. So why is my bridge flashing? So let's say it's flashing. If it's flashing, where is it positioned? See, it always has that rippled effect. So positioning is the key part here. It's very important. So if it's flashing and it's on the dash, maybe it just needs to go on the roof because of the area you're in and where the satellites are on that particular day and this particular place that you're at. So move your bridge and check it. If your bridge doesn't have any lights, that means it's dead. That means the battery is no longer alive, right? So now we need to charge it in order to get it connected. So you can connect it in your vehicle and charge it. So as you can see, those 3 things are always kind of bouncing back at each other to check. So we need connection, we need to make sure it's charged, and we need to make sure it's positioned correctly. So when you come back, you should be able to troubleshoot those things yourself, and if not, you can contact our customer care team. Okay, now if you do have the link loss alarm enabled, so I want to know a sound when I lose connection from my bridge, I can play you this clip. And that means you have lost connection. And then it prompts you to start walking back to your bridge, see if it's a distance thing or see if it's actually a connection thing with the bridge. Okay, the second one I want to go over is the low battery. So with the low battery, oh, we have a question. Yay! So Ed Burton is on the call, and Ed definitely gave connection, positioning, and charging before I said it. He wrote it about 5 minutes ago. Thanks for that, Ed. Appreciate it. Okay, so going back to the low battery. So if you have a low battery on your bridge, number one, you can check at any given time, which I love. So I can press my OK button, which lights up my screen. There it goes. And then I can see my percentage. So 70% is where I'm at with my percentage. Okay, so at the end of my shift, I want to check that, see where I'm at, think about tomorrow and who's going to be using it and be like, you know what, I'm not using it for the next few days and I'm not sure who is. I'm going to put it on the charger because I want to make sure it's fully charged and ready for the next user. Or if you know you're using it and you want to save your battery because you don't have a charger nearby, then you can turn it off. But just think logical with it. Look at your percentage, see where you're at. If you're going to leave it on the whole night, then it's going to be drained by the morning. But then are you using it in the morning and charging it while driving? And how long are you driving for? So think about those things. So that's easy to manage, it's easy to check on, but the loaner doesn't have a screen to tell you what your percentage is. So at the bottom of the device, it will flash red and it will chirp every 5 minutes when you've got a low battery. Now we know we have 24 hours on the Loaner 900, so it's defaulted to 20%. So when you've got about 2 hours left, it's going to start bleeping at you, letting you know that you've got a low battery. Now, if you place your device straight onto the charger, it will automatically power down because it stops and prevents false alarms from coming in. Because if you've got your device on the charger and you leave it unattended, then we're going to get a no motion come in, which is why we do that. Okay, so moving along with that. So ending your shift. So to end the shift, it's really, really simple. We always want to make sure we turn off our Loaner 900 first, because this is the device that's monitoring me. This is me in my shift and working alone. So if I'm no longer working alone and I don't want to be monitored and turned off, then all you simply need to do is power down. So if you press the power button for 3 seconds, 1, 2, 3, as you can see, everything is starting to flash and power down. Now, I have to wait for these lights to go out. If I don't wait for these lights to go out and then turn off my bridge and you have check-in enabled, you will have a missed check-in. And ladies and gentlemen, it's important that you have a solid green light before powering down, because if you have a solid green light, a log-off message can be sent. So if you're going to go inside to your house and charge your device, and in your house you lose connection for whatever reason, turn it off before you get inside the house so a successful log-off message can be sent. That will prevent any missed check-ins and alarms coming in. So as you can see, now all my lights are out. I can now place my device onto the charger. So we'll come to that in a second, but I'm just going to show you how we power down our bridge. Now, you don't have to power down the bridge. I don't. I move my bridge from the office to my home, to my vehicle, to when I'm on site training, and I just never power it down because I'm always charging it. But if I do need to power it down, it must come second, and you power down exactly the same way. So if I just hold down on my power button, it even gives me a 3, 2, 1 on my screen. See that? Logging off and logging off, and I can release. So now my bridge is logging off, and all my lights are still flashing because it hasn't logged off yet. Remember that? We need our lights to be completely out, and then we can place it on the charger. So remember, ladies and gentlemen, always turn off your Loaner 900 first, and then the bridge second, and wait for all the lights to go out. Okay, we're almost finished here, ladies and gentlemen. So now we need to charge the device. So with your boxes, your equipment, you should have got a charger cable and then your white clip. This is for the Loaner 900, as you can see on the screen. Now, it's really simple. You just place it into the charger. There's only one way you can do it, so you can't go wrong. And then you just want to slide it into the device. Now, my device is flashing because it's currently charging. Once your device has a full charge, it will then turn to a solid red light at the bottom of the device, and you only need 3 hours for a full charge. Now, what you can do is you can call to your manager and ask, hey, where's my battery percentage at the moment? Or you can check it yourself by using this little troubleshooting tip. So if I look at my device, we can see it's flashing. It's a sequence of flashes. So let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 flashes, and it's continually pausing and then flashing 5 times. I want you to times that by 2 and minus 1, and that's your approximate. So 2 times 5 is 10, minus 1 is 9, approximately at 90% of battery. So that's how you kind of tell where you're at with yours. So that's great, I've got 90%. I'm pretty full here, probably haven't got long to go before it gets a full charge, and leaving it overnight is fine as well. And then the same with the bridge. So you should have a little rubber stopper on your bridge. Always make sure that's kept in, because if you're not charging, you want to make sure, I'll just put it in there, you want to make sure you're protecting your charging port, especially if you do have it on the vehicle. You want to have it on the side where the charging port doesn't hit the wind and the bugs and the rain and things like that. You want to have it so the wind hits the opposite side. I don't know if you can see, I've got a few spots on there, but yeah, you want to have this on the opposite side. So when you're charging, you're literally just pulling out that rubber stopper, and then you're placing your charger and connecting it. No white clip for this one, just straight in. Okay. And then obviously, sorry, I skipped that. When you're charging, the same rule applies. You're going to see that flashing red light, and then when it's fully charged, solid red light. So the same rule applies for both devices. If your bridge is down dead completely, you will need 10 hours to get it back up to a full 50 hours. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have now concluded. I'm just going to give you a quick summary. So at the beginning of your shift, we want to make sure we turn on our bridge first, then we mount it. Disconnect your Loaner 900 from the charger, power it up, wait for the solid green light, and then on the hip it goes. I'm ready to start my shift. If I ever hear that pending alarm, all I need to do is press down on my latch to tell the device I'm okay. And that's it. If you need to call for help, we hope, touch wood you don't, but if you need to call for help, pull the latch. Other than that, at the end of the shift, power down the Loaner 900 first, wait for all the lights to go out, and then you can place it on the charge, and then you can power down your bridge. So when you kind of bring back all of that training and knowledge and all the features, make sure you've got a solid green light, make sure it's positioned, and whenever you hear that pending alarm, you just simply press on your device and tell your device you're okay. And that's all there is to the device.